The biggest challenge that I think we've got is that historically it's been a social service sector designed around camp-based living with a preeminent focus on keeping people alive. Whereas when you're talking about long-term displacement in increasingly urban settings, Imad Fakouri's point, about 90% of Syrian refugees in Jordan are in urban areas. You can't have a sustainable social program that doesn't also recognize the importance of economic livelihoods and putting the economy, it's almost like we've got a one-winged aeroplane and we need to develop the second wing, which is an economic wing of the humanitarian effort. And I think that it's really, from an IRC point of view, as we developed what we call our outcomes framework that governs all of our country programs, it was very important to me that one of the outcomes that we put in there alongside survival and health and education is income. Because there isn't going to be a sustainable 10-year program that doesn't also have a very strong economic component. So the second thing I'd say to you is, let's really build in the economics in a really core way, and let's honor what's said in the principles document here, that it's got to be for the host population as well as for the refugee population, because it's true that poverty rates among Syrians in Jordan is 70 or 80%, but it's also true, correct me if I'm wrong, Imad, that the unemployment rate among Jordanians is 26%. The youth unemployment. So if we're thinking about an economic program that is addressing refugee needs, which we should, and refugee jobs, excellent, but let's not forget that there are Jordanians, significant numbers of whom are out of work as well. And to avoid giving a sort of hour-long lecture, just the third thing that speaks to those first 2 points, I want to call out something that's in the report, which is to really think about evidence. And I think many of you will be thinking about big macro studies of the Jordanian economy or the Lebanese economy or the Kenyan economy. I want to call out the importance of real micro-level evidence about what really makes a difference. And I just want to give you an example, because Imad Fakouri's government does have, and the companies that are based in Jordan have the advantage of tariff-free access to the European market if 15% of their employees are Syrian refugees. So there's a special dispensation there. But only 4% of Jordan's exports go to the EU at the moment. So there's a real opportunity, but there's a real challenge. One of the challenges is overcoming the barriers that prevent Syrian refugees getting into the work. And surprise, surprise, those barriers involve many of the things that people in the Western world take for granted as being barriers to employment. So childcare, security of the family, interruption of benefits, the danger of losing public transport. And the evidence that we need to generate to develop this economic wing of the aeroplane has to be very micro and very tuned to the human stories of the people that we are talking about.